Olympic gold for Team GB in new mixed relay events in swimming and the triathlon, taking the total medal haul in Tokyo to 28.
Great Britain are going to win their 4th gold in the swimming pool.
One more medal tomorrow and it will be British swimming's best ever Olympic Games. But disappointment for sprinter Dina Asher-Smith as she pulls out of the 200 metres due to injury.
Because as a reigning world champion, and I was in such good shape, you just know that the Olympic champion is not too much of a further step.
Also tonight, fears of a humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan as Taliban fighters attack 3 major cities. And experts warn that monitors used to spot falling oxygen levels work less well in people with darker skin, potentially putting them at risk. Good evening. Team GB have won 2 more gold medals at the Tokyo Olympics, both in new events where men and women compete together. There was further success for the swimming team, who took gold in the 4x100 metre mixed medley relay. But there was heartache for Dina Asher-Smith, who failed to qualify for the 100 metre final and has pulled out of the 200 metres. More on that shortly, but first our sports editor Dan Rowan takes a look back at some of the day's successes.
A first for the Olympics, but a familiar feeling for Team GB. A 3rd triathlon medal today in the inaugural mixed team event, but this time gold. With each athlete facing a 300-metre swim, 6.8-kilometre bike ride and 2-kilometre run, Jessica Learmonth got Britain's bid off to a great start, before Johnny Brownlee then extended the lead in this, his 3rd and final Olympics. Team GB still had their 2 silver medalists from the individual events to come. First, Georgia Taylor-Brown, and for the final leg, Alex Yee, who powered home to seal a 14-second victory. After a bronze and silver in his previous 2 games, Brownlee finally emulating brother Alistair and claiming Olympic gold.
It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I've chased that dream for a long time. I've seen my brother obviously achieve it twice, and now I've done it and it feels amazing.
Introduced to try and improve gender balance, the new mixed team events have been one of the features of the Games here in Tokyo, and Britain are certainly enjoying them. Team GB's swimmers have already had a remarkable Olympics, but it got even better in the 4x100 metre mixed medley relay.
Great Britain are going to win their 4th gold in the swimming pool.
Anna Hopkins sealing a stunning win and new world record after Kathleen Dawson, Adam Peaty and James Guy had established a lead. This a 7th medal for the team here, 1 more tomorrow, and it will be British swimming's best ever Games. Dan Rowan, BBC News, Tokyo.
Britain's fastest ever woman, Dina Asher-Smith, has pulled out of the Olympic 200 metres after revealing she tore her hamstring 5 weeks ago. The 25-year-old failed to make the 100-metre final in Tokyo, though her teammate Daryl Neita did and finished 8th. Asher-Smith spoke of her upset to our sports correspondent Natalie Perks.
Obviously the competitor is. As a sprint start, we'll let it go. We'll let the start go and let me cry.
The customary smile replaced with tears. The fastest woman in British history had been hiding a secret.
Dina Asher-Smith.
Just 5 weeks ago, she'd been told there was only a 2% chance she would make it to the start line after a torn hamstring.
Elaine Thompson-Herah's going to win it. It's going to be Del Pond who takes 2nd place. And Dina, she's just not finishing. She gets out well and couldn't hang on.
Out of the final and minutes later, the reigning world 200 metres champion confirmed she was out of that too, but would still run the relay.
My idea for this Olympic cycle was complete dominance, and obviously didn't manage it this time, but obviously we have 3 more years to the next Olympics, and I know the kind of shape I'm in, I know the calibre of athlete I am, and I know how talented I am. So it's frustrating to not be able to put it out when it matters, but at the end of the day, with the cards that I've been given, I did very, very well, and in no way does this change anything that's going to happen in the future.
Well, Daryl Neita might not have been the name on everyone's lips, but making the 100-metre final is a huge achievement. She's the first British woman to do so since 2008.
But this would be a tough ask from a field stacked with talent and speed.
Lynn Thompson-Hera's just got the lead at the minute, and it's going to be the defending champion, makes it 2 in a row, 10.60. It's an Olympic record.
A Jamaican 1-2-3. The pace was blistering, the celebrations between them somewhat frosty. Not that Elaine Thompson-Hera cared.
My chest is tight because I'm over happy. I'm so lost of words right now, but God is amazing.
Heartbreak then for the queen of British sprinting, but the Jamaican dynasty continues its reign. Natalie Perks, BBC News, Tokyo.
And we'll bring you more Olympics action later in the programme. There's growing concern about a humanitarian crisis in southern and western Afghanistan as the Taliban try to seize 3 major cities from government forces. Fighters have entered parts of Herat, Lashkargah and Kandahar, having already made rapid gains in rural areas and captured a number of border crossings. Let's speak to our correspondent Secunda Kamani, who's in the Afghan capital Kabul. And Secunda, how strong a hold does the Taliban have in these places?
Well, this is now the most serious fighting we've seen since this latest Taliban offensive began. The militants had already captured vast swathes of rural territory. Now they're trying to take their first city. And earlier this evening, they made their way to the very centre of Lashkargah before being pushed back by Afghan special forces. In the past few hours, a number of airstrikes have been launched against Taliban positions there too. But fighting has been taking place elsewhere as well, around the western city of Herat and Kandahar in the south. And caught in the middle of all of this, of course, ordinary Afghan families, tens of thousands of people have had to flee their homes over the last few weeks. And the international military mission here is going to formally come to an end by September. With the Taliban emboldened, peace talks stalled, everyone's worried that in the coming weeks the violence is going to get even worse.
Secunda, for the moment, thank you very much. Let's take a look at some of the other news today. And the body of a 5-year-old boy has been found in a river in South Wales. Police say they were called about a missing child near Bridgend at 5:45 this morning. Officers found the boy in the Ogmore River near Pandy Park. Police want to hear from anyone who was in the area at the time. BBC News has been told that the government is no longer considering making it compulsory for university students in England to be fully vaccinated against coronavirus before they can attend lectures or live in university accommodation. The Department for Education had previously refused to rule out the idea. The Equality and Human Rights Commission has warned employers that rules requiring workers to be fully vaccinated must not be disproportionate or discriminatory. In America, Walt Disney has become the latest company, after Facebook and Google, to tell employees they'll have to have both jabs before returning to work. Some businesses in the UK are following suit. Back in the UK now, and the latest government figures show that there were just over 26,000 new cases in the latest 24-hour period, meaning an average of 27,464 new cases per day in the past 7 days. 71 deaths were recorded in the last 24 hours. That's an average of 70 deaths a day in the past week. The latest figure for the number of people in hospital with COVID is just below 6,000. That hasn't been updated from yesterday. More than 88% of UK adults have now had their first jab, and more than 72% are now fully vaccinated. NHS England and the body that regulates healthcare products are issuing new guidance on pulse oxygen meters, also known as oximeters, after it was found that the devices can overestimate oxygen levels in people with darker skin. With more, here's our health correspondent Amara Sophia Alahi.
Ranjit Sangera Marwaha caught coronavirus in December last year and eventually ended up in hospital with seriously low oxygen levels.
So basically, flip the lid, put your finger in.
She'd been monitoring her levels at home with a pulse oximeter, but the meter consistently told her she was in safe levels, even as she increasingly struggled to breathe.
When I went into hospital, the first thing they said was, you really did leave it too late. Had you left it any longer, I would have been straight into ICU.
There is growing evidence that such monitors can overestimate oxygen levels in people with darker skin tones by 2%. That's led to NHS England and the body that regulates the use of medical devices, the MHRA, issuing new advice. They say people shouldn't use the devices at home without speaking to a medical professional and to monitor oxygen levels over time.
Of course, in the pandemic, a lot of people were self-monitoring. It was very easy to order, a pulse oximeter online and receive it the same day. And it's not to say that, all devices will be influenced by a person's skin tone. And it's also not to say that these devices are not useful, because they very much are. But it's making it culturally appropriate and sensitive to diverse groups.
Low oxygen levels are a primary indicator of serious COVID infection, and those treating patients in hospital say they've expressed concerns about the use of the technology on minority ethnic individuals.
It's something that I would pick up on at least once a day with maybe 2 or 3 patients on a daily basis. It's quite possible that someone's oxygen levels were measured and they seemed normal when actually they were truly low. And because they seemed normal, they might have been sent home and denied the steroids and oxygen which we would normally have been giving to patients. And it's possible that therefore may have led to them becoming more unwell and potentially even dying.
Oxygen is one of the most common treatments given in medical emergencies, and doctors stress accurate readings are vital when assessing patients. NHS England say they are keeping the situation under review and have commissioned further research into the issue. Amara Sophia Elahi, BBC News.
Carrie Johnson, the Prime Minister's wife, has revealed on social media that she's pregnant with the couple's second child, who's due at Christmas. She says she feels incredibly blessed, but also like a bag of nerves after having a miscarriage at the beginning of the year. Mrs Johnson gave birth to a boy, Wilfred, in April 2020. In a report on last night's programme about the conviction of a Wembley steward for trying to sell security bands and other items for the Euro 2020 final, an incorrect photo of the defendant was shown. We apologise for the error. Let's take a look at all the sports news now with Chetan Pathak at the BBC Sports Centre. Chetan, hello.
Martine, thank you. Good evening. As you've been hearing tonight, it's been another day of medal success for Team GB in Tokyo. That includes Emma Wilson, who won a bronze medal on her Olympic debut in the women's windsurfing. The 22-year-old was already guaranteed a medal after winning 4 of her 12 races heading into the final. China took gold and France silver. For the first time, 3 Team GB athletes have qualified for the final of the women's 800 metres. 19-year-old Keely Hodgkinson timed her run well to finish second in her heat. She'll join Alex Bell and Gemma Reekie in the final on Tuesday. American gymnast Simone Biles has pulled out of 2 more events at the Olympics, confirming she won't compete in tomorrow's vault and uneven bars gymnastics finals. The 4-time Olympic champion hasn't competed since she pulled out of the women's team final after this vault earlier in the week. US Gymnastics says Biles is continuing to be evaluated daily as she focuses on her mental health. There's been plenty happening away from the Olympics. In Cape Town, the British and Irish Lions lost the second test by 27 points to 9 as South Africa levelled the series. It'll now come down to next Saturday's decider. Katie Gornall reports.
Pride and pressure is what a Lions tour is all about. With the series on the line, now it was a question of which team could harness that passion. Defeat last week left the Springboks wounded. Early on, it was clear they would not go down without a fight. The penalties racked up, so too the yellow cards. This kick sent Duhan van der Merwe to the sin bin before South Africa's Cheslin Colby flew in to join him. Again, tempers flared. The Springboks boss had criticised referees this week, but one man in the middle kept his cool. Finally, some rugby broke out. 3 points down at half-time, South Africa responded brilliantly. Mapimpi with a try worthy of the world champions. They would sneak through again on the hour. Lucano Am was quick, but did he have control? The referee decided he did. And momentum would stay with South Africa until the final kick.
Yeah, well, the players obviously very disappointed, but next Saturday's the cup finals, and it's the way we've got to look at it and prepare, and a few things we've got to tidy up in terms of our game.
It's now all square in this bruising series. This battle has one more round to go. Katie Gornall, BBC News.
And Lewis Hamilton will start tomorrow's Hungarian Grand Prix on pole after an impressive performance in qualifying. He lapped 0.3 of a second faster than his teammate Valtteri Bottas as Mercedes locked out the front row. Hamilton's championship rival Max Verstappen had to settle for third. And in Scotland, the Premiership season is underway. Viewers waiting to watch the action on Sports Scene straight after the news on BBC Scotland might want to look away now. The Rangers began their title defence with a 3-0 win over Livingston at Ibrox, extending their unbeaten league run to 40 matches. Hearts beat Celtic 2-1. And there's more on the BBC Sport website, including today's results from the 100. But that is all from me for now. Back to you, Martine.
Chetan, thank you very much. You can see more on all of today's stories on the BBC News channel. But that's all from me. Good night.